Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the Pseudomonas. Okay, Pseudomonas are basically their type of bacteria that can cause disease. And there's two types that we're going to talk about. The first one is going to be Pseudomonas Dermatitis. And the second type is going to be called Pseudomonas, or is called Pseudomonas Aeruginosa. Okay, but before we start talking about these, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about them, what they both have in common, and then we'll talk about them as individuals. So in the Pseudomonas, what happens is they are both found in water. So where are they found? They're found in water. Water. Okay. They're also found in soil. And for the most part, they can survive in basically any moist environment. All right, so they can survive in basically any moist environment. So these are going to be pretty common, and as you'll see as we go through this. Okay, so let's talk first about Pseudomonas dermatitis. All right, so in Pseudomonas dermatitis, people get this from saunas. Get this from saunas. Let me change my pen here real quick. That's starting to die. So they're going to get this from saunas. All right, swimming pools. And also hot tubs. Okay, so that's where these are going to be found. So here's what happens is as people go into swimming pools, what do you think happens to the chlorine level? Into swimming pools. I'm going to put swimming pools, but this could be saunas or hot tubs too. Into swimming pools. Okay. The effectiveness of the chlorine decreases. All right, so if the effectiveness of chlorine decreases, what do you think is going to happen to the Pseudomonas? It's going to grow. So this allows the Pseudomonas to grow. Or multiply. Okay, so now they're going to be more numbers. Now, here's the whole thing that's going to happen though. When you usually go into pools and stuff like that, normally it's going to be you want the pool to be kind of warm, right? So what that's going to do is that's going to open up the hair follicles. So the hot water or warm water in pools opens up hair follicles. And what do you think is going to happen when that occurs? What's going to happen is you are going to have your Pseudomonas enter into the skin. So this allows Pseudomonas to enter the skin. This should actually be capitalized. To enter the skin now. Okay. And then what's going to happen is this can lead to a rash on the skin. So this can lead to a rash on the skin. Okay, and it can also lead to, if it gets into the ear, it can also lead to otitis media. Okay, so this is an earache, a middle ear infection. Okay, again, if it gets into the ear, it can lead to otitis media, also known as well. I'm going to put it's an earache, and the more common term that people know is this is also known as swimmer's ear. So otitis media actually can lead to swimmer's ear if you don't have enough chlorine in a pool to kill off the Pseudomonas. So the warm water in pools opens up hair follicles. This allows the Pseudomonas to enter into the skin. This can lead to rashes on the skin, and it also leads to otitis media. That's it for Pseudomonas Dermatitis. Now let's talk about Pseudomonas Aeruginosa. Okay, and Pseudomonas aeruginosa, what's going to happen? First of all, this is opportunistic. It has to wait for a decrease in the immune system before it becomes a problem. It's also a nosocomial infection. In other words, it occurs in hospital. Okay, and again, nosocomial means it occurs in hospitals. Okay? So nosocomial means it's going to occur in hospitals. Okay? So usually people in hospitals have a weakened immune system, so this is one of the places that this likes to grow. Okay? It likes to grow, or where does it like to grow? So for the most part, it likes to grow on medical tubes. Okay? So it can grow on medical tubes. Or other devices that can be inserted into the body. Okay? So the thing about this, though, is not only is it found on medical tubes, which is to be expected, but this can also be found on or in things such as vases. Basically, where there's water, it is found in vases. So if you know somebody in the hospital has a weakened immune system, people like to bring them flowers. That may actually be a bad idea. So it's found in, it's going to be found in vases. It can be found in mops. Right, guys cleaning the hospital with a mop, not realizing that if he doesn't keep enough disinfectants in the mop, then he can actually be spreading this disease. Okay, and also in diluted disinfectants. So when they clean hospitals, they may make a mixture of stuff, disinfectants. Okay, they may make a mixture of water and chlorine to kill off stuff. And then what happens is as that gets diluted, this starts to occur. Just like we saw in Pseudomonas dermatitis, when you had the chlorine get diluted, it would start to grow in numbers. Same with here. If I have my disinfectants get diluted, okay, this can also resist antibiotics. Okay, so it's in the body, you give somebody antibiotics, and this becomes a problem. It can release endo or exotoxins. And remember, endotoxins are found on their cell walls. When bacteria cell walls break down, and they create a toxin called an endotoxin. An exotoxin is basically a toxin that is made by the cell and is released. Okay, it usually affects people with lung diseases, like genetic lung diseases, such as cystic fibrosis. So if you're wondering what cystic fibrosis is, that is a condition in which you get a buildup of fluids in the lung. And because there's fluids, and this likes fluids, diseases such as cystic fibrosis. So because you have fluid in the lungs, this can actually end up growing inside the lungs of those people. All right? And in burn victims, it can cause a bluish-green pus. Okay, so due to a pigment called pyocyanin. Okay, and I'm going to write up here pyocyanin. And that's basically it for the Pseudomonas diseases.